had to have myself a few, and I could not trade my time for a solid diamond thing. Pleasure's not the taking, it's a loving of the game. All right, the
Very
loving
nice.
of the game.
Lovin' of the Game. You don't know who wrote it?
I don't know their name right off. I actually learned that song from Ray Wiley Hubbard.
Oh,
I met Ray when I first came to Texas. In the
Right.
70s, And I know a bunch of his old early songs.
yeah.
He was always around. Yeah, I was lucky when I came to Texas. I met Ray. I met B.W. Stevenson and played concerts with these people,
Right.
and Michael Murphy, and I don't know who all. Oh, Bill and Bonnie Hearn, yeah. But I have to say, B.W. Stevenson, man, he was a cut above. He sure was.
That's pretty cool to hear. I mean, a lot of, I think in a lot of ways we lose a lot of the history and because it doesn't get recorded,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, and I met Rusty Weir, and I played guitar for him for about 6 years. So
That's a long time in
played
music.
around a few people, back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Greg's ready to play.
Oh, I don't know if I'm ready or not. We'll see. Well, I wrote this song.
Tearjerk reaction.
I wrote this song when I was getting my pilot's license, and I was coming back and I was thinking about I can't remember who. Somebody had passed away in the music business, and they were playing all their songs on the radio.
Right, as they do.
And so I wrote this. I just taken the test, and so it made me think about this. Well, he'd been gone away from home for almost 13 years. He hit the city limits with an old guitar from Sears. Mama said the best of luck, just call me when you can. Well, her little boy was finally grown and had become a man. He called her every Sunday morning, just as sure as the sun would rise. They talk about him coming home, and the tears would fill her eyes. I'll be home in September when the days aren't hot and long. And Mom, I've got a big surprise. I've written you a little song. It was 10 o'clock on Sunday night, but his phone call hadn't came. She hoped the thunderstorms in Marshall County were to blame. So she turned on the radio just to see if the storms had gone. And to her delight, they were playing his #1 hit song. Well, the next one was her favorite. He sang it so sweet and low. But then she started getting worried. They'd played those 2 songs in a row. The DJ's voice just quivered as he spoke his next few lines. Our local boys, the plane's gone down, and no one has survived. Well, the mother's heart was broken as she dropped down to her knees. She looked up at the Lord above, and all she could say was, please, take care of my baby boy. I'll be there for too long. He told me he was coming home. He'd written me a little song. Well, he'd been gone away from home for almost 13 years.
Very nice.
That'll bring a
Very
tear to a glass eye.
That will. You know, Greg and I were playing one time, and right at the beginning, we've always played old songs.
Yeah.
It was at Marlene's, it was.
That's what I like listening to,
right
you
at
guys.
the beginning of the night, Greg says, stick around for the last set. We're going to play songs by all dead people.
And we did.
We played a whole night of songs, and I swear to God, there wasn't 3 of them still alive.
Oh, my gosh.
It was like he threw down the gauntlet, and we wore that gauntlet out, I'll tell you.
My normal set, I think.
Yeah, we didn't have to change a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have to change quite a few, I think, but a lot of the songs that I like to sing are they're even older than that. They're like 400 or 500 years old.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's kind of cool. How does the music that you play and the fact that you play music impact the community, right? So you're a teacher, Greg, right? And you play in a church band, Fred.
I do.
How do you, what kind of things do you do outside of music, Sawyer, that impact the community in some way? I mean, yes, you're a teenager. I get that. But, you know.
No, just school, really.
Just school? Well, I
Yeah.
mean, there's something to be said for that, too, right?
Well, he's constantly playing at the house. I mean, so,
Yeah?
yeah. He's recording, or he's got a drum set. He beats on the drums. He's got a piano. He
You
plays
play
on the
drums, too?
piano.
That's cool. That's really cool.
I played last night. He played bass for me. So
Oh, how nice. Must be nice to have an in-house bass player.
that was probably the first.
Literally.
Last night was really the first gig we played the whole night as a gig. So
Was he up there at...
we were at the rig last night.
At the rig last
Yeah,
night?
It was just a fun deal. We've been out the lake all day. So
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. You went to high school, well, part of your high school with my husband.
I did. Yep.
And so that's got to have been interesting, having people come back into your lives over the years,
Yeah,
right?
I had no musical interest as far as in high school. I mean, I was, like I say, I was shy enough. I didn't even like doing roll call. You know, I played football here in Denison. I enjoyed that, and went straight into the Navy. And then, like I said, I didn't see Chris until, maybe 8 years ago, maybe somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's about right.
But
That's when we moved back.
But outside, I don't play at the house a lot. You know, like when I.
If you play every night, you can.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't.
It's
pull,
counterproductive.
yeah,
Is it?
I don't play at the house very much. You know, so I don't even listen to the radio driving home when I get done with the gig sometimes. So.
I do tech work in my my day job, right? So my computer is never fixed. Just like, you know, I don't listen to music as much as I used to before I started performing, right? Do you listen to music in the car or anything like that, or
Yeah,
is
I'm
it
pretty
just
hard on myself about listening to a bunch of stuff. If I'm trying to, like, make it, if I'm trying to, like, write and, like, come up with cool stuff, I guess, then I'll be listening to a bunch of music. But if it's like if I happen to be playing a lot, then I don't really, I'm
kind of nice to have some quiet time? Does that sound about right? Yeah.
Well, since I started playing with Fred made me realize that you gotta like the music you're gonna play, or it just makes it miserable. Do what you want to play, and then hopefully everybody else gravitates to it. So, but I like me and Bill and Fred. I mean, Little Big Iron. Fred says God's favorite band. So, but you know, it's just it's worked out great for me. I mean, we're playing with Fred. I've learned more from him than anybody else. So.
Oh, I can certainly imagine that. I mean, how long have you been playing music here, Fred? As we wave hi to the folks at Split Window.
I made
Standing
my
out
first
there.
$2 February the 14th, 1964.
Oh, my gosh.
I
So-
kept that $2 till I had to take my girlfriend to the state fair.
So So we literally have 3 generations of music sitting
yeah.
in
Oh,
this
yeah.
room right now.
Shoot, more than, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000.
Maybe 4? No,
It's a long time.
because you and I are about the same age,
Yeah.
right? So, but yeah. What do you like to do I mean, I know that you guys like country music, and I know that you like gospel music too,
Yeah.
right? What do you listen to, Sawyer, that's not, maybe, because I like to listen to, I like to listen to classical music. I like to listen to, I've got this thing for medieval music. That's what I like to sing too, right? Literally what I was trained to sing.
I listen to a bunch of like 30s and 40s kind of. I just like the jazz, like on top of the beat stuff, like
Right?
jun, jun, jun.
Mm-hmm.
Jive.
Yeah,
Play jive.
Oh, okay. Yeah?
yeah.
Yeah? Does that sound right? Because I like 30s and 40s music too, but probably not the same kind.
Yeah, a bunch of Beach Boys. Just 'cause like Beach Boys, I feel like is the first like, not the first. I don't even know, but it's very complex music, but it sounds very simple, kind of thing with
Okay.
all the
I'm
harmonies
with
and
you on
crap. To a normal person, they just be like, it's the Beach Boys. And if you're trying to play a Beach Boys song, you just go, oh, it's the Beach Boys, and then you're like, oh, you know.
It's like
Yeah, it's got
trying-
600 chords in it. Harmonies.
Which
on
that's
top
why
of
it sounds so good, though. But
Well, it's like listening to Queen. Have you ever tried to deconstruct a Queen song?
I never even.
Don't even
think about it.
consider deconstructing Bohemian Rhapsody. That
Mamma
is,
mia.
oh my gosh, that is such a hard song to. They recorded it in so many layers, right, in the studio. So all of it is their own voices, but there's so much of it, and it sounds like the Beach Boys may be the same way. So is it fun deconstructing songs so that you can figure out how to play it?
No, I mean I just kind of think about it, you know. Unless I'm learning the song, then I'll kind of figure out how I'm gonna do it in a simpler way, I guess, or not. You know what I mean?
Right.
Less
Something that's a little easier to.
do live kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. So is your
There's a better way to do it than playing the licks off the record.
Yeah.
you think?
There's a way to make the song yours.
Yeah.
And if you have to get rid of a couple of chords for the groove to sound right and everything, big deal.
Yeah, it's like
And I do that unconsciously.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be like, you know, it's really wrong, but to me it sounds normal because I've been doing it wrong for so many shows, gigs.
There's a phrase that's practice makes permanent.
Yeah.
It doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. So yeah, I get that. I mean, so how do you do it, Fred? I mean, what do you do? How do you?
When I listen to music, I listen to blues and bluegrass. Old
I like
guys.
bluegrass
Old
sometimes.
guys, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a whole lot of new bluegrass that's just great. But, you know, all it is country music with bluegrass instruments anymore, you know. And that's all right, you know, but it's kind of like the gospel music. There's no blood on the lamb in that new bluegrass.
What a lovely way to put
I
it.
listen to lots of mainly black folks singing gospel music. I listen to that a lot. Swan Silvertones, you know.
Right?
Sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pop staple. Pop, man. Mavis.
Yeah, I like it. Nothing's more fun to me than to hear a song that I've heard the same way for many. Like happened yesterday. I just told Sawyer yesterday. So little old wine drinker me.
Yeah.
I've always heard Merle Haggard sing that song, and that's all I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, come to find out, Dean Martin had that song before, and I told him, I was like, Dean Martin, I love Haggard to death, but he did it way better than Haggard did.
Dean's a great singer, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, when I heard Dean Martin talking about Chicago and a honky, I was like, psh, he knocked that one out of the park. Haggard copied him.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, I love hearing songs. I mean, there's an old song that was George Strait cut it, and then I heard somebody else do it, and then come to find out, Conway Twitty did it in the 50s as a rock song, you know, and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
I like it way better. That when I find songs like that makes me.
It's interesting to see the changes that each musician layers on to something like that,
Yeah.
right? I like listening to things like that too. I was listening. There's so many different ways to do "You Are My Sunshine."
Yeah. I do that.
My
With
sunshine, and the one, and I've known that song. I think everybody does. If you go through daycare in any place, you know, "You Are My Sunshine." But I listened to
Ray Charles.
Yeah, Ray Charles did that too. And the same thing with Georgia on My Mind. I did not realize how old that song is. It was
Hoagie
written in
Carmichael.
1930s.
Hoagie
Right.
Carmichael.
Actually, in 1930.
Hoagie wrote all the great songs.
I know, right? It was really
What's
good.
that one Willie Nelson sings?
Oh. What's that one Willie Nelson sings?
Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain.
No, it's a Hoagie Carmichael song. It's a great song. I've always tried to learn it. It's got a bunch of chords in it.
He knows he can't play it with me if it's got more than 4 chords in it.
It's got a bunch of chords
For me
in
to
it.
learn it, I got to be able to play it and sing it. You know.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is very true.
Stardust.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Stardust. Hoagie wrote Stardust. I don't think there's a better old song than that, except for Artie Shaw, When We Begin to Begin. Some of those instrumental songs were really pretty.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
I remember hearing
40s
things
and
like
50s
that.
and stuff,
Yeah,
you know.
when I was
Artie
younger.
was my favorite, really.
My mom listened to bluegrass. My dad listened to folk music. So I got that interesting dichotomy. And, of course, there was Lawrence Welk every Sunday. Right? So I got to listen to all that kind of stuff. And Hee Haw. I don't know if you guys ever watched it, but it was a big part
I did.
of ours.
I watched Hee Haw, but I realized I liked the Wilburn Brothers show a lot.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I can certainly see that.
They didn't have near as much as the cornball. But I appreciated Hee Haw for what it was.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes it's...
Most of the time, they had a band with no guitar player, and it was great. You
On
know,
Hee Haw?
Yeah, on Wilburn Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hal Rugg and Buddy Spiker on the fiddle, Hal Rugg on the steel. They didn't need a guitar player.
Yeah, it was fun.
I love the way steel sounds.
After Buddy left, they got Jimmy Capps, which, he's the stuff, too.
I didn't know it was that far. He went that far back on that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
He's on there a lot. He was on there mostly with Curly Chalker, steel player.
Yep.
So many things, so many memories, so many things that I remember that, my gosh.
That was what Saturday was to us. Watching
Right.
Wilburn Brothers and Flatt and Scruggs, Porter Wagner. And you know, and
Earl Flatt and
early
Lester
on,
Scruggs
we'd turn
knew
off
them.
the TV and we'd go in the kitchen and listen to Grand Ole Opry, 8
Yeah.
o'clock, man, when it come on.
I still listen to it, but I listen to it on my satellite radio in the car,
Yeah.
right? And it's a replay, but still in all.
Yeah.
You know, my mom lives in Nashville, and she's never been to the Opry.
Oh, boy. I think I'd probably live there if I was there.
I know, right? I would love to. I mean, is there any place that you specifically, I mean, if you had a dream place to play, Sawyer, where would it be?
Thankful for anywhere, but
I am too, especially the ones that pay, right? Those
Yeah,
are the best ones.
I don't know. I just like cool little theaters that aren't like,
Right.
nothing crazy. Anywhere, like,
The smaller venues
Yeah.
as opposed to the bigger ones.
yeah.
That was really popular in the 70s. I mean, the Cellar Door in Washington, the Exit Inn in Nashville. What was it called? The Other End in...
Like, what's that main one on South Congress that you saw?
Oh, the Continental Club?
Yeah, kind of that little.
the Blue Note in Boulder. These are places that tell you to hush.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a listening
There are
room.
places to drink and stuff, but
Yeah.
if you got loud, they tell you to hush or leave.
There's a place like that, a listening room up in, I want to say it's Atoka, but I may be wrong. I know that Starkey plays there
Yeah.
periodically, and I think that's really pretty neat. And
But you could go to the Exit Inn and see Linda Ronstadt
oh,
with all the real
that
guys.
would have been so cool.
With all the real guys,
right?
Doug Kershaw, people like that.
Yeah.
I played there with Sammy Smith and with David Allen Coe.
Really? It's David Allen Coe?
John Prine played there every Tuesday night.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'd have to say if I had to pick it would be wherever I could have the sound, where I could have it sound like I wanted to and be able to hear.
Yeah.
And
Right,
I
but
mean,
where
the
would
amount
that
of
be?
people wouldn't matter. It's
Yeah.
just, I've built up so many gigs in my life that I thought were going to be the greatest, and ended up sounding horrible, and it just like made it it wasn't any fun.
Oh,
So
I can understand that too. Yeah. I think the place that I would love to play would be definitely the Opry. That's a stage I'm in.
Where?
At the Opry.
At the
At the
Opry?
Grand Ole Opry, yeah. That kind of stage is the kind of stage that I think every choral singer would love that because of just the sound inside the...
I don't know. Bass Hall's pretty cool.
Is it?
Sounds good down there.
Oh, yeah.
Where we went and saw Haggard.
I mean, I'd take Carnegie Hall if they called me. But
See, I know, right? Carnegie Hall, that would do the trick. Yeah, no kidding.
It may not be the sound, but the Majestic Theater in Dallas is cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
I have, I used to live in Dallas, and I have never been down there, and now I'm going to have to go.
That's where I saw, the one time I saw John Prine down here was there.
Oh, yeah.
Then
Oh,
I
gosh.
saw a couple of plays there as well.
Yeah, that's the thing about Bass Hall. The sound in there is like, it's incredible. It's quiet. It's cool looking.
Yeah,
Sound is good.
we'll have to check that out. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for being here and for playing
Thanks
for
for having us. We're the first ones, huh?
You're
We're
all
guinea
of the
pigs.
first ones, the guinea pigs.
We got the Godfather in on it.
I know,
Fred
right?
Spears.
I am so glad that you guys came down. I really appreciate the time that you spent with us. This is Texoma Open Mic, the podcast here in Denison, Texas at Split Window Studios, their new podcast studio. We'll be back with you next time, and y'all have a great day. Cool.
All right. We can't stay around and heckle. You can if you want. It's just you can't stand the whole time.
You know what? It won't bother me at all to have you guys
Can I
hang
take some
around
pictures
here.
and stuff from outside, like while you're podcasting?
Do what?
Do you mind if I take some pictures outside?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, if you'll share them with me, that'd be great.
I'll come your way. All right, y'all have fun.
All right, thank you. Okay, so welcome to the first Texoma Open Mic podcast. And with me today, I have Sawyer Guymon. Say hi, Sawyer.
hello.
And Fred Spears.
Howdy.
Hi. And have Greg Guymon, Sawyer's dad.
Hello.
Hey.
That's what I'm known as these days.
You're Sawyer's dad, huh? So this podcast is kind of dedicated to the music of this particular area. We're in Denison, Texas, and Denison, Texas is a music-friendly city. It's a designation by the state of Texas that indicates that this city, of all places, I mean really, has so much musical talent, so much of a musical bent that they felt it very important to notice that, right? Now, obviously, Denison is not the only city that is like that. There are quite a few in the state of Texas. If you go to the state of Texas website, you can find a listing of all of them. But I'm particularly partial to Denison. My name is Ann House. I'm a musician here also. And so we're going to talk a little bit today about the history of music in this area, because Greg's been playing in this area for a very long time, so has Fred. And then we want to talk with Sawyer a little bit about what it feels like to kind of come up in this area with a musical family that is very, well, let's face it, Greg, you're prolific.
I'm not sure about that.
I think you are.
And what?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so there's that too. So Greg, come on, talk to us. Tell us a little bit about you, what started you in music, and...
Well, I didn't really start playing music as early as Sawyer did. I didn't start doing it until I was fixing to get out of the Navy, and I had started. I grabbed a guitar and was studying to take some tests I was going to do when I got out of the Navy. And my uncle Johnny Means, he was from here, and I'd seen him play when I was a kid.
Right?
My dad always had a guitar around the house. My dad, he never would play on stage or anything, but I remember going and watching Bobby Giesland and all those guys back in the day when I was a kid at the high school auditorium where they used to have the stuff. And but I was always real shy in high school. I mean, I was shy, and I would have never thought I would have got on stage. But I came home and I went and saw the movie Pure Country, and I was kind of like,
Oh man, yeah.
I was like, I think I kind of like to be in a band. And so I was already going to the bars anyway, so started playing a little bit. I guess my first gig was in 1992 was when I played my first gig. So I played at Jeans Club down in Melissa, Texas, and my second one was the Cowboy Club in Van Alstyne, and then they kind of run together after that. But yeah, I got lucky. I mean, I fell in with some guys that my first thing live, I guess you could say, where I got on stage was at an Austin College benefit, kind of like a Jerry Lewis kind of telethon kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up on stage and sang the same verse 3 times because I was so nervous. And the next day, some of my uncle's buddies called me and said, hey, well, you messed up, but we liked the way you sounded. Would you come up and maybe audition? And
Oh, cool.
I went out and auditioned, and it was kind of downhill after that.
Downhill after that.
Yeah, been playing ever since. So.
Yeah.
But lucked out and met Fred. I don't know, Fred. We've been playing together how many years now? For
How old are you? 16. About 17.
17 years.
17.
Before Sawyer was
17
born.
years. How long have you been playing music?
I've been playing
Fred?
music a long time.
Yeah.
I started my first band when I was 14.
Oh my gosh.
I went out for basketball, and I got cut the first day. and the next day, this guy passed me in the hall, and I had played my teacher's guitar in my 9th grade homeroom Christmas party.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My teacher played, and I could play all the same songs he did, and that's exactly what I did. I got up there and played the same songs he did. But this guy stopped me in the hall after I went out for basketball and says, "Are you Freddie Spears?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "I hear you play pretty good guitar. We got a band."
Oh my.
So to me, I'm still in the same band.
Okay.
Just with maybe 100 different guys been in it before.
Right.
So
It's pretty.
That's
It's pretty
it.
cool, though. I mean, you do a lot with a lot of people over the years, right? So, have you seen music change a lot? How has it changed? What kind of things do you notice the most over? Because you've been in his area for quite a while.
When I first came here, which I didn't move here to 1985 thereabouts, but I
You got to
started.
remember how that sounds to me.
Well, I started coming here about 75.
Right.
Playing. We'd pass through here, played Fayetteville, played Dallas, Austin. We lived in Austin at the time. But after I did move here, I realized that there was about 4 different groups of friends of mine that had bands, and everybody was pretty much making a living,
Right.
a musical living.
Living playing music.
They were all playing 3 nights a week at least,
Right.
And if you're lead a Spartan existence, that's enough. but especially Denison. Sherman didn't really have that. Denison had 4 or 5 places you could play.
So it was just mainly.
several nights a week.
Right.
That's no longer the case. There's
True.
only money around for a duo or trio anymore.
Sadly,
Solo.
I can. Yes, I totally understand that.
Yeah, but I feel at home here. I have always.
Right.
So
So it's just kind of your place.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on vacation we've gone on vacation this summer, 2 or 3 different places, and there's still way more live music here than anywhere else. I mean, that I go. I mean, we went to Miami. We didn't see one single live band in Miami. And
Really?
Yeah, there was nothing going on down there.
Wow.
And everywhere else, you go out maybe like on a Tuesday or Wednesday night. It's cheaper vacation for us during the week, but you go out maybe and try to find somebody playing, and there was absolutely nothing going on in these towns you think there would be. No, it's we went to Nashville, but
That's a whole nother ball of wax.
yeah, they got that in Memphis. We go through
Now,
there.
those people are getting paid. to play
Yeah, they're getting.
tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're getting paid. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So I think that, as Fred said, it's not quite the money that to do full bands and stuff that around here, but there's still, I can think probably at least 6 to 7 places on a weekday, that there's something going on around here. So
Right. Sawyer, what about you? You kind of grew up in this.
Yeah, the first I kind of listened to a bunch of their playing to him, Bill, and Fred, before I actually listened to the music. I watched them playing music before I actually listened to music, I guess.
So was it a matter of hearing versus listening?
Yeah, and I always knew that Bill, he was doing this, and I was like, that's got to be like the
Moving his hand in a
yeah,
rhythmic.
yeah. And then I kind of figured out that there's 3 main parts of everything, and then like that's all everything else is with like, so there's bass, guitar, and a lead instrument,
right,
or rhythm or whatever.
Yeah.
And so all music is just kind of that, but just elaborated or not,
okay,
to get the point across.
And
So
that
once I
seemed-
figured that out, I was
right.
like, I like that.
It was interesting
Yeah,
to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's way better than math and stuff like that. And the first song I remember hearing them play was "Lovin' on Back Streets," like Music on Main. It was the first one I remembered like the words to.
Right.
So yeah.
Great. So I got that going for me.
You know, there's a direct correlation between music and math. So
Yeah.
it's
Sadly,
easier.
sadly.
It's sad to say, but it's easier. It's easier than math by far. But there's a direct correlation between music and math. You know, all those. I've been singing since I was 5, which makes a total of 50 years. So I get the, because neither of my kids enjoy making music per se. My son had a drum set when he was in high school, and my daughter has a very good alto voice and tried her hand at piano, but not so I'm not sure how to deal with a kid that likes the same things that you do, even though it's maybe not quite the same music.
Oh, it's definitely different for us. Well, I say we like a lot of the same songs and stuff. But, you know, the big thing, recently, media and everything like that, as far as music goes, everybody's like picking and choosing and stuff like that. I mean, there's always been people who like certain music and not the other. I mean,
Yes.
it's just with social media, you get to hear about it more. I listen. I'm younger than Fred, but we have more in relationship to the music. We Beach Boys, all this. You know, he got to play with the guys back that were big in the 50s, and may have been not the 60s and 70s when he was playing with them. But
Right.
I mean, that's where he gets his. And yeah, I liked Beach Boys way better than Merle Haggard when I was 10 years old. But it's one of those things where. Everybody's like today, the bro country and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't like it, but I don't have to listen to it. I mean, it's what the CD player's for, and the and the
Or
pick your
Spotify
own music. Yeah,
or whatever.
sometimes I get stuck on my radio, but I mean, I'm not going to sit and. I'll say I don't like it, but I'm not going to sit and bash it. Everybody likes certain things. I mean, occasionally a one-hit wonder will come through, and I'll really like
Right.
it. But for the most part, it's. I think that's always been the case that people didn't like. Everybody's a little. When I guess when it went back, it was the old country music from the 50s and 60s, and in the 70s it became kind of pop country. And then 80s, Randy Travis spawned his deal, and then just before that it was Urban Cowboy.
I remember Urban
then
Cowboy.
Urban Cowboy, then Randy Travis, and then it's 90s music and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
think for
Urban
me,
Cowboy saved us from disco.
I know, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
True story.
And you probably have no idea what we're talking
I'm
about,
glad
right,
I've
Sawyer?
never listened to any disco.
Oh, my gosh.
I haven't gotten there yet.
I did, because I was a kid. I was born in '68, which means I was a kid during the disco era. So, yeah. You're extremely lucky that you just never got.
What was your first concert, Fred, that you went to?
Well, my first concert really was probably the Dick Clark Caravan of Stars.
Ooh, how cool!
Dale Shannon, The Shades of Blue. Who else was on there? The American Breed. Oh, yeah, the Young Rascals were on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Didn't you say you saw James Brown?
I've seen James Brown many times.
Oh, wow.
I grew up in Nashville.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And if you had a boy band in Nashville, you didn't play country music. You played
A boy
you
band,
played R&B.
Yeah.
right?
I mean, a kid's band.
I know what you mean. It's just interesting to hear it
Yeah,
phrased that way.
but if you didn't have a couple of horn players, you didn't have a band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
and
we
see-
all had that. We played. They called them spy dances. supervised programs for youth. They were at community centers around Nashville, and they hired bands in high school, and there was about 8 of those you could play.
Wow.
And you'd get paid. Not a lot, but you'd get paid. You know?
Man.
It was, we thought we was doing something then. And we were.
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember growing up that there were garage bands, you know.
Yeah.
There were always young people playing music. And I went to high school in Wichita Falls. I mean, is that the case now, Sawyer? Do you find...
No, there's probably 3 kids in my entire school that have anything to do with music, except like choir and things like that. Yeah.
Y'all have an orchestra?
No,
Not
at Colbert. No.
Not in Colbert? Okay. I wasn't sure. I remember there being orchestra, choir, band, and when I say band, I mean marching band on the field, and several permutations of each. Right, there was a jazz choir. There was the classic style of choir that you're used to, and all that kind of stuff. But you know, I went to elementary school in Mesquite, and I went to high school in Wichita Falls. So, you know, slightly bigger than Colbert, obviously. But, so, yeah, different.
The biggest difference I've seen in music around this area is, and I always said the cool curtain kind of fell in McKinney, Texas, because back when I started, if you did your original music, you had to be down there. You couldn't do it up here. They wanted you to be cover band, you could dance and things like that, and you know,
stuff that they were familiar with.
Yeah, George Strait, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, you know, stuff that you danced to and the thing. You had, and that's the reason I never did. I mean, I wrote songs with some of the guys out. I mean, Tommy Nixon up in Durant. Mm-hmm. He's an incredible writer, and he'd let me be involved with it. We'd write the song, and I thought, man, that's a good song. Then you go to play around here, and if they don't know the words, they just kind of, you know,
tuned you out.
They don't dance to it for one thing.
Oh, and then, yeah.
You know, so it's just like that always made me kind of shy of doing originals, and you know, I've just, you know, there are places, there are listening rooms in Austin. I know where they go in and sit. That's real quiet, but I don't expect somebody to come out and watch me play and be quiet. You know, it's just not one of those things. But I do appreciate the people who do their originals. You know, and they keep trying and keep trying. It just never was the thing that I gravitated to. I mean, you know, Sawyer, he's in the studio now here at Split Windows, and he's been recording, and Fred's been on it, and a lot of different people are helping him out. And I'm excited for him to get it done. It's definitely a lot easier now to push that music because you've got all these avenues. You've got social media and Facebook and all that, and you don't have to have a recording contract. You can. Well, and I will say this, you know, people back in the 80s and 90s made their music off the music being played, you know, royalties and things like that. It doesn't happen a lot anymore. It's all streaming, so there's money lost there. So you got to foot your own way these days. If it's on social media, you got to, you know, book the gig, sell the merch.
Yeah, that's
all that stuff. So
I decided because I put out cover tunes, right? And I decided when I did that, I wasn't going to, because when you go in and pay for it, you know, you pay for how many you're going to press, CDs you're going to press, and how many streams you're going to do and all that. And I opted for no CDs to press, because I didn't find value in it.
People don't have CD players.
Yeah, they don't even put them in cars anymore, so they're coasters.
I have big silvery coasters.
I've got one, but I've got an 8-track too.
Yeah.
I have a CD player in my car. I also have satellite radio, that's what I listen to. So I can listen to the type of music I want to at any one given time without having to.
You're almost better off to print the vinyl these days because the nostalgic part of it. People are more apt to listen to it on a record player now than they are on a CD player.
You are absolutely right. I mean, how do you listen to your music, Sawyer?
I have a record player and stuff, but just like Spotify.
Right. You mainly streaming.
Yeah.
Right, like off of YouTube.
Which Spotify is good about, if you're just streaming and you like search up that one song, listen to that one song all the time, that's not really like good for you. But if you're like listening to a bunch of different music, Spotify's kind of good about that.
Right.
Kind of filtering it and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I noticed that.
Like people will say, country music's all bro country, like it's all that's being made now forever. But then there's like hundreds of thousands of people that are still doing it, and it still sounds exact same as, you know, anything else that was made 50
Yeah,
years ago.
YouTube is. I mean, that's how
Yeah.
we enjoy it when Sawyer and I'll find somebody that nobody's kind of found yet. You know, like they're kind of underground hits, and then it kind of sucks when everybody else finds out about it.
It does.
Sierra
because-
Farrell, you know,
Yeah.
that girl. You know, we found her a few years ago, and she was still kind of living on the streets. You know,
Oh.
and then now she's playing the Grand Ole Opry and doing all that stuff. So
Yeah, I know that's a dream. I'm telling you.
it's way more fun to hear Fred's stories about traveling on the road. So.
Oh, really? Okay. So, Fred, pick one.
I don't know what my best story would be.
Well, think about it, and I'm sure we'll
It'd
have you
probably
back
be
too.
kind of blue.
Oh well, it's a podcast, so blue is okay.
Yeah, I know.
Slightly blue.
But I did want to say, I was in the high school band,
What did you play?
trumpet,
All right.
and it was a big part of our lives, and half a dozen of the guys that I've played with over the years were in that band with me. You know, I mean, we all just had something to do on the side. You know, just go to each other's house and practice.
How many instruments do you play? I see you with a different instrument every time, it seems like.
I really only play three. I play mandolin mostly, dobro, and guitar.
I love
Guitar
the sound
like
of
everybody
guitar.
else in the world.
And harmonica.
Well, I play harmonica enough for people to think I'm a good harmonica. After a couple of songs, it goes south.
Yeah, the guy that.
I mean, I can play two songs on
Right.
on the fiddle and make you think I could play the fiddle.
Oh man.
I
But I
consider that
can't.
playing like you play the piano.
I'm
I
telling
can't,
you.
know.
Right, the guy who accompanies me, he plays bass guitar and acoustic guitar and electric guitar, and he has a full complement of harmonicas. He plays piano. Who knows what he's going to pick up
I
next?
tried to
so
teach
it's kinda
myself how
cool.
to play the harmonica one time, and I was crossing the Red River in the truck, and almost passed out. So I threw it out the window.
Decided that wasn't for you after all, right?
Wasn't gonna be happening for me.
That's a story in my family, how my daddy was playing and Uncle Woody was blowing the harmonica and Uncle Woody passed out.
I've never seen Tim pass out, so
It's controlling the air, I guess.
yeah, breath control. Oh my gosh, breath control.
I believe if I had my life to live over, I would have taken piano lessons. I believe I would have learned music theory out of a book. Now, I know music theory really well by trial and error, but it probably took me 20 years to get there.
Right.
But I'm hard to lose,
Hey,
Yeah.
so there's that.
that's always
Well,
good.
Fred knows I'm not hard to lose because Fred will be telling me he'll go 3. You know, like it's the next one's going to be 1, 3, 4. He could be going -12. My brain just does not work fast enough to process numbers into chords. So
Well, it's not important as long as you play songs everybody knows.
yes,
Yeah. Oh well, that's probably true.
Which in my world is kind of a boring thing to do.
Is it? I mean,
I like to try
Oh, yeah.
kind of try something. Well, Greg does too. He'll bring songs that we've never played before.
yeah. And the good thing about Bill and Fred is they get it immediately. I mean, we may go through and we don't practice
No.
over the 17
We
years.
practiced one time.
Over the 17 years, we practiced one time.
once.
And then we actually played a
gosh.
gig at Choctaw Casino one night. They had hired us to play. Of all things, it was during an Asian concert that was going on. So they asked us to play like from noon to 4 when people were coming in. So we got up there. So we went up and we played noon to 4. Well, the lady that's in charge came up. She goes, "Hey, we've got a lot more people here today than we thought." She goes, "We can pay you guys, and would you just play another set, another 4 hours?" We're like, "Sure, we'll do it."
Okay.
We rolled through the next 4 hours, and she comes up and she goes, "I know this is crazy." She goes, "We still got people here. Would you play 4 more hours?" And we're like, "Sure." They fed us again, and we went and played. We did that whole 12 hours, and we didn't repeat but one single song. And we don't use iPads, and we don't read, we don't pull up.
And that song was a request.
And that was a request.
Oh, yeah?
It was Neon Moon by request of all songs.
Yeah.
But
Of all songs.
but she had a lot of people that weren't really, not country music people, and they were just kind of trying to be nice to us,
Right.
But yeah, 12 hours, we didn't repeat one single song. We made it. It got to be a challenge to do
On
it.
songs
So,
that where you weren't repeating.
Yep.
That's something else, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
how many songs do you?
I can do 4 hours.
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
I'm lucky to do 2.5, right? And I still have. And remember, I come from a choral background, so if the music is not right in front of me, half the time I won't remember it. Yeah. Now I remember the music, but I don't always remember the lyrics. All right, so that's because that's a lot of lyrics. But I've got it queued up on either my phone or my tablet, right? It takes a lot to be able to remember all of that, and I think my brain cells are probably
if I learn a new
super
song,
tired.
I typically got to forget one. The CPU is full.
Yeah.
But there'll be songs like me and Fred, we beat ourselves up. There was one song we used to do it all the time, and we could not remember what it was. We went
4 years. 4 years at least.
4 years without doing
I'd
it.
say, what's that George Strait song?
And then finally one night it clicked. And
What
I
was
like,
it?
Yeah, what was it?
I know the end is near.
Oh, we did. That was the last song we did last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was funny. It just kind of popped.
That's really pretty cool.
But if I have to sing it without the word, holding a guitar, it's hard for me to correlate. I can't.
You
I
don't
just-
have
yeah,
that
I
muscle
don't know
memory
what to
that
do with
goes
my
along
hands,
with your.
so.
Yeah, no, I get that. See, I don't have that same correlation, right? So you brought your mandolin, yeah? What do you feel like playing today? I mean, I can talk to Sawyer and let him play one. All right,
Greg's probably
Sawyer.
got one loaded up over there.
You got one?
I don't have a guitar. You got it. Go ahead. You guys can go first. You go first. You already got it.
God. I have to have the rights to it.
You have to have the rights to it, or it has to be public domain.
Just don't ask him to play Happy Birthday. He can't play Happy Birthday.
You'd be surprised. I don't think that's public domain. I
Happy
could be
birthday.
wrong, but what you got?
Whoa.
No, that's bad.
E. Oh, it sounds so weird. Oh, okay. So the first couple lines of this I was reading this to get some, at school I was just having to read for something, I don't know. But it wasn't anything that they assigned to me, just a library book. But it was this guy who was like 13 or 14 in the Civil War, and his name was Rufus Rowe. And the book was called Something Something of Rufus Rowe.
Interesting.
Yeah. And Garrett wanted me to call it The Ballad of Rufus Rowe. But it doesn't really have anything to do with that. I just took the first couple things.
Right.
And it happens after, I think it was Gettysburg or something like that. And he's
Right.
like looking over all the dead people. Well, nobody wants to die. So many just did. And I know we won. What did we really win? If time was on my side, I'd be out of my mind. And I don't know where I could go with that. And I'm okay with being patient, but this time it's gone too far. All we do is sit and wait and look up at the stars. But one day they're gonna fall, and when they hit you in the head, well, I'll be looking normal. Oh, you'll be seeing red. And I'm not gonna pretend like I don't know what's going on. But what it looks like to me is we're not trying to get along. They say they're gonna help you, but that don't get you very far. But do they even care about you, or even know who you are? All deranged and insane, but we're probably all the same. Well, can't you see now how these things change. Well, you can't want to know something and say nothing at all, 'cause you're not afraid of flying, you're just terrified to fall.
I like it. That's pretty great. And I love knowing where it came from. That's actually kind of, that's very, very great that you, I was going to say very cool, but I'm probably dating myself there, right? Very cool that you gave us that beforehand. So when did you write that?
Like last summer, I guess.
Right? Is that going to be on your new album?
Yeah.
Yeah? When is your album coming out?
I just got the masters back.
Yeah?
So as soon as I
Approve all the
get around
masters
to
and
it, yeah.
as soon as you get around to it. You can put it out on streaming platforms.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Oh, so the guitar has switched over to Fred now. So
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure this song's old enough to be public domain. I did not write it, but it's one of my favorites. It's about gambling.
well, some of the best songs are.
Saw the Feather River glide across the burning golden sand, cut the silver ribbon wide, held $1 million in my hand, and except searching for, the finding's always plain. Nothing drives a gambler like the loving of the game. Most of my life I've rambled round, searching hard from town to town. Still I've never ever found a single thing to tie me down. Where I'm going has no end, what I'm taking has no name. Couldn't trade a fortune for the loving of the game. So long, darling, don't you cry. I hope things pan out for you. Saw them good times going by.